Today we're going to be doubling the horsepower of my car with these. Still spinning. So I had these injectors custom built for me. They're 280 in size, 280 thousandths. I think the stock injectors are 184s. So we should see a pretty good increase in power. We also have some ARP head studs here to make sure the head doesn't go flying off the car. As far as the clutch goes, we're just going to keep what's in there until it fails. I'm not really sure what's in it right now. I'm not sure if the previous owner put a different clutch in it or not. But I did get a upgraded clutch kit here from Kentucky Clutch. Got a nice 6-puck friction disc. Look at that. And we also have our single mass flywheel. So once the clutch that's already in there is fried, we'll slap this bad boy in. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I got the valve cover off. It actually looks pretty clean under here. Not a whole lot of wear, you can see a little bit, but this engine does have 325,000 miles on it, so not half bad. So when you're replacing these injectors, you definitely want to get some of this new hose here, as these pretty much just crack and break off. Look at that, disintegrates. No bueno. So replacing the head bolts with head studs one at a time. We're going on a torque sequence of 80 foot-pounds. So this one's already been torqued to 80, number 1. We're about to do number 2, torque it to 80, 3, 4, so on and so forth. Once we get them all back in, we're gonna do 100 foot-pounds. We're gonna let them sit for a minute, then we're gonna do 125 foot-pounds, and they should be good to go. We got the head studs in. We torqued everything down to spec. I've usually taken the head off and replaced the head gasket, or heads, depending on what it is. But usually you take the head off, replace the head gasket, and then put the head studs in. This is kind of a learning experience, I guess. All I gotta do is put the valve cover back on, bleed the fuel rails, and install the tune. Let's do it. And just like that, the tune's loading.
Several days later.
So it's been a few days, and we've actually had to work out a couple of kinks. Before we start talking about that, I'm just gonna go over what we got going on here. I've changed the turbo inlet pipe out to a larger one. The first one was a lot smaller, restricting our airflow quite a bit. I've also added a Moroso oil catch can here. We're getting a lot of oil into the intake, into the charge pipes as well. If we actually take this off real quick, it is working, contrary to popular belief. So you look down in there, it is catching the oil, just as advertised, which is pretty decent considering a lot of these things don't even work. We got a steel wool mesh inside of here that traps the oil vapors, and then it drips down into here. We're still getting a little bit by it, but it's nothing compared to what it used to be. And we also have less blue smoke coming out of the tailpipe.
Aren't you supposed to have hose clamps on there?
You don't need that. When it flies off, you just put it back on. So for those of you that are wondering, this is 3/4 inch fuel hose coming from the valve cover here. It fits onto this, it's a very tight fit, but it does get on there. So I had to adapt 3/4 to 3/8 in, 3/8, 3/4 out. This is actually something along the lines of 1 inch on the inlet here, and this is a pipe they supplied me. So I just got an adapter here from 3/4 to 1 inch. It's kind of hacked up, but it works.
Hang on, there's sirens.
So a lot of you may be wondering why I have this cone filter and not the stock airbox. The stock airbox works perfectly fine. I just threw this on here because it works better with this intake kit. I also have a MAF delete with the tune, so it's not using any values from the MAF. We're probably gonna make a pipe that goes in place of the MAF housing. If you look here, you can see the engine speed pretty much from 3,400 RPMs all the way up to 5K. We're using our max duty cycle on the injectors, which is not good. So that means we're not getting enough fuel to the injection pump. If we look here, you can also see that our timing is off, which can be confirmed with VCDS. Our start of injection specified is much higher than our start of injection actual. We did raise the timing, and we actually have added a intake fuel pump to supply our injection pump with more fuel. Take a look back here, you can see the intake lift pump. The kit was actually pretty nice. It came with this nice connector here and all the wiring that you needed to get this thing wired up. This is the ground. It goes here right when you put this cover plate on, like this. And pretty much you just repin the old connector into this new connector, and you have your power and ground for the pump here. This is actually the reason we're making so much more power. red badge. What's also nice about this kit is it comes with a nice little relay to put in the factory relay box. We also have a little inline fuse here for the power. I could have wired it into this fuse terminal here, but I already had this laying around. Then the signal for the fuel pump on is coming from the injection pump fuel shutoff solenoid. Also, if anybody knows where I can get one of these boxes here, this lid is supposed to go on top of the relay box, but I just see it can't. If they ever made one of these to where you could have another relay in here, please let me know in the comments. I was driving down the road, letting it get warmed up first, but it already feels a lot more happy. Oh yeah, she wants to go. She definitely wants to go. Let's see. Let's do a little baby pool. See what happens. This is gonna be second gear. Dude, this thing moves. That's
It's a wake-up call.
That's a little bit more than 90 horsepower.
Yeah,
I can tell you that much.
That's the wake-up call she needed right there.
Okay.
You want to trade cars?
I think it'll run 9s now.
Oh, definitely.
Probably something in the 9s. We need to get it on the dyno. Maybe seeing what it makes.
Maybe next video.
Yeah, next video. We're still getting 50 miles per gallon on the highway. It's the perfect daily. Spinning.
Spinning.
Still spinning. Alright guys, so this is all we have for today. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave us a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel. Comment down below what you think we should do next to this car. Maybe bigger turbo, bigger injectors, who knows. Also be sure to subscribe because we're going to be taking this thing back down the 8th mile to see what it runs. We're also going to be taking it to the dyno to see what kind of numbers it is. So we'll see you guys next time. We're at the store here and little cappuccino. This thing's tiny.
You stand next to it.
Look at that thing.